So hopefully everybody's got a chance to look at the minutes. If there are no changes to the minutes, can I get a motion to adopt the minutes as distributed?
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to citizens' comments. Would any citizen like to speak tonight regarding town issues? Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. Go ahead, all right, okay. Cindy Clark, 27 West Genesee Street, Baldwinsville. Two things, and I'll be real quick about it. First, I'd like to thank everybody who showed up for the Brundage Road, the Earth Day. It was wonderful. We had well, there's people here, I see very familiar faces. We had people from the board, we had people from the Lysander Republican Committee, the Rotary, the Highway Department, and just people that cared to come in and beautify our area. For those of us that were there, I don't think we need to go into detail of some of the things that we found. It was really, I mean, it was disgusting. But anyways, it's cleaned up. I haven't been there today or the last few days. I don't know if it's starting to pick up again. But hopefully some resolution can be made with InBev or Budweiser, whoever, to get this thing resolved on a more permanent basis. But nevertheless, it was great that everybody showed up to work and do this and to help. It was great. It was great to see everybody. And also, the second item is, if anybody knows of anybody that does videography, Mr. Hoteling is retiring. So we will be needing some help as far as people that can run cameras. He said it's not difficult. So if you know of anybody, or if anybody here is interested, please let us know. You can let me know. You can let one of the board members, and we can let Jim know so he can show somebody what they have to do. But he's only going to be going through, is it May, I think, this month. But I want to thank him too, because he's done a great job. He's always been here. He's always been very reliable. And thanking PACBTV for always providing somebody to take the meetings for us. But anyways, that being said, again, thank you anybody who, all of you who are here and out there who attended the Earth Day at Brundage Road. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, it's Nina Kovaleski from Radisson. Just to continue with Cindy's job about Brundage Road, I was unfortunate today taking West Entry Road, and it was being paved, so it was closed, and I had to go around Brundage Road. Well, needless to say, I was lucky I got out of there. They were double parked, trailers were double parked, there was only one lane, and you had to watch traffic coming and going. So it was more like a death trap than anything else. I don't blame the highway department. I blame abundance of trailers. If I say 20, 25, at least.
Just so you know, it's like that every day.
I know, and I know Mr. Wicks is doing something about it, so I'll leave it to him.
Thanks. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Cindy Todd, Dinglehole Road. I have a prepared comments here that I'd like to read from regarding the warehouse proposal on the corner of Route 48 and 690. When my husband and I decided to build here 25 years ago, we selected the town of Lysander primarily for its aesthetics. Lots of farmland, woodlands, fields, wildlife, farm stands with fresh produce, the sounds of nature, and if you enjoy the night skies, you know that there's nothing like being in the country where there's minimal light. Lysander is a place where my children could and did grow up, exploring those open fields and the added security that a rural neighborhood brings. These characteristics and more are what sets us apart from other towns. We have our quaint village with a beautiful river that runs right through it. We have state preserve land and we have our parks. We have historic homes that date back 100 years or more. We should stand proud that we've been able to preserve these elements of historic small town America, unlike neighboring towns that have become a concrete jungle, overcrowded, noisy, and traffic congested. They've sacrificed the value and the serenity of small town for development and tax revenue. There has been little to no intrusion of big business on our town's rural look and feel until now, until this proposal to blemish our landscape with a 1 million square foot warehouse. I've copied for each of you these comments, along with an email that was sent to you earlier this week. I will highlight that for you now. What am I concerned with and what are my questions? Pollution. Air, ground, water, noise, and light. A warehouse of this size has an impact on all of this. Waste estimated at 5 tons weekly during the construction project, which should be about 5 years. Property that will forevermore provide a dome of light in the evening sky 7 days a week. Increased traffic congestion and emissions along with the noise that it brings 24/7, not to mention how fast our roads will break down from the significant increase in traffic. How will the added pollution impact our health? Then there is the construction noise, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 5 days a week through the proposed construction period of 5 years. The wetlands. I believe that the application submitted to the town indicates that 7 acres of wetlands will be affected. What is the impact to the surrounding natural areas or to the homeowners and the wildlife? The application also indicates that the site sits atop or immediately adjoins a primary or a principal aquifer. For my benefit, and maybe some others, I'd like to be clear that an aquifer is, quote, any geological formation containing or conducting groundwater, and special emphasis here, especially one that supplies the water for wells and springs. According to several online resources, aquifers provide 95 to 97% of drinking water to rural residents. The residential area that is just west of this proposed warehouse, and likely many other areas surrounding this land, is dependent on residential wells. Not only am I concerned with pollutants, but I'm also concerned with possible impact on quantity and quality of water. The village. While businesses will likely welcome the added customers, how will the village accommodate the increased traffic? The parking. The village is already congested and nearly impossible to get through during rush hours. The Lysander Town Park and Spray Park are less than a mile away, and Beaver Lake is less than 3 miles from the proposed site. I will assume that this is of significance since the application submitted to the planning board specifically questions this under E3H. If the proposed site is, quote, within 5 miles of any officially designated and publicly accessible federal, state, or local scenic or aesthetic resource. To which the response was no, but I question that response since these parks are within 5 miles. In regard to the Spray Park, I can't help but wonder how many more people will be attracted to this park when the 500 plus employees realize that it's just down the street and they start to bring their families in. There's a potential overcrowding concern that would lead to inaccessibility for our own town residents, along with increased strain on resources. Law enforcement. Will patrolling be increased to monitor the increased traffic and the security of our neighborhoods? The potential to snowball is a concern. What's next? A fast food restaurant or convenience stores and gas stations that'll pop up across the street to accommodate the employees? Or maybe a huge housing complex or apartments? We already have too many houses being built in our area. What is the vision for our town? Are we slowly morphing into that concrete, overcrowded and noisy town like the others? What impact is this going to have on taxes? Not only are the rates rising, but my assessment has gone up $70,000 in 4 years. I consider that a double whammy. The rates go up and so does the assessment, while the proposed warehouse is rumored to have tax credits being considered. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend the public hearing on May 13th, but I hope that these comments will be seriously taken into consideration, and I'm confident that I don't stand alone in these. I thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Again, that is something that we don't have any control over. The planning board is the ones that your comments would be most appropriately directed to. But we appreciate your comments. Anyone else?
Can we take a copy of this and give it to the planning board?
Sure.
So that you
Yeah.
can, for next week.
May I approach?
Yes. You know what? You could give it to Ms. Starr there.
Those are the comments and my email that I sent.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
make sure they get to the planning board.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Melanie Shum. I live at Chaucer Circle. I too have sent a letter to the members of the board regarding this proposal. My family and I are very much against this particular development. Like Cindy, we came to this community for the quiet, for the aesthetics, the green space, and the ability to raise our kids in an environment that, you know, was natural and clean and just, you know, a nice area. And while I understand development is necessary to an area, I've heard you speak on a few of the Hearth Home and community videos, to stabilize tax base, to develop, bring jobs and things of that nature to the community. I think this particular project is more of a detriment than a service to the community. Environmentally, this project is unsound. Building on an aquifer, building near the wetlands, and we already have issues with water and sewage in this area already. Canterbury Ridge and Giddings Crest, those areas are already at high demand for water. Our water pressure is low at given times of the day. We already have a strain in that area, so what will this project do and how will that impact it? It will make the problem worse if we're not addressing it already. Noise and light pollution, noise 24/7 a day. We already see noise already from 690. That will be amplified with the construction traffic and then eventually with the traffic from the trucks at this facility. And the night sky, forget it, it'll be gone. We already have light pollution from the different neighborhood lights where I'm at, but my backyard affords me some glimpse of the sky, and my father's property across from the park affords me the opportunity to be able to observe the night sky from there. We also have the proximity to Beaver Lake and Lysander Town Park. We have kids playing there. With the increased pollution, we're exposing them further to pollutants. We're not also, I don't think, considering the health of those in our community with asthma and other respiratory illnesses. And I just feel that we're not really taking into consideration the people that have already invested their time, their energy, and even their own tax money into this community already. They've lived here 25 plus years. We've lived here, I've been here since 1988. And we've spent a lot of time and invested a lot of energy to building our home and our family here. And I just feel like that's not being considered. We're considering more the financial and not the big picture. And so I'm hoping that the planning board and you gentlemen will consider the bigger picture before approving this development. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Kevin Road, 1405 Graymore Way. I have a comment about the littering law that you're looking at. And one of the questions, I know you had discussion in the work session about brush and lawn clippings. And I know, living in a development and living in other areas of Lysander, that sometimes there is an issue with people dumping their lawn clippings on town property at the end of the stubs of roads that never got finished. So you may want to revisit adjusting that part of your littering law. I'm not sure if it's covered in any other town laws, but I know it has been an issue in previous years. People pick an area to dump all their lawn clippings and they end up there, and it's usually in the town right away. And if you take that out, I don't know how you would affect that. I know you're trying to make the law for an area that we have an issue at right now, but the law could be used in other parts of Lysander. One thing, great job for the people on Brundage Road that went out and cleaned it up. I applaud all your work and effort. The one thing I did notice, I think we have put some new signs up on Brundage Road for littering and no standing, no parking, but some of them are pretty faded. So hopefully we're going to get that in the budget to fix those signs. And the only other question I had on tonight's agenda is budget transfer for item F. And is that just something we do every year to cover a tax receiver, or was that not budgeted?
I don't recall why that specific transfer is being made, but generally, yes, that's to cover shortfalls in one area that it's not anything additional to the budget. It would be moving some money around within the budget, and I don't recall what the reason was for that off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, thanks for the comments. Moving on to supervisor's comments. Mr. Holtailing, so you're retiring. I think Mr. Holtailing has done, since I've been here, has done a phenomenal job, and he's going to be missed, but congratulations on your retirement. And I think that, you know, what you do is a great benefit to the town, and we're one of the few towns that have their meetings videotaped, and we're lucky for that, so thank you. Brundage Road, I wanted to just make sure there were some ladies there from McNamara School, and I have 4 ladies, or 6 ladies here, young ladies that were there from McNamara School. I have 6 names, and so I know 2 of them aren't going to be 2 that were from McNamara School, but I said I would mention their names. So it was Sarah, Leah, Nora, Darcy, Brooke, and Kayla that came out and helped out with that. So 4 of them were from McNamara School, and so I told you I'd mention your names, and I did. And the other 2 ladies that were there, we had a few young people that were there to help out, and they did a great job. I mean, we took out over 60 bags of large trash bags of garbage with the help of the highway department. We filled up a 10-wheel dump truck right to the top, and that was all done with about, I'd say, about 30 people. And Ms. Clark, pardon me?
2 hours.
In 2 hours, Ms. Clark mentioned who they were, and everybody worked right along, and it was really appreciated by everyone who was there. And I think even though there was some nasty items found, I think people enjoyed themselves being out that day. We got lucky, it was a nice day. I just want to comment on some of the things that were said tonight, and although there may be differences of opinions on this one specific project on 690 and Hancock Boulevard, I can assure you that the town and the town board and the planning board and all the people that are associated with the town really do consider some of the things that were brought up tonight. And as far as the big picture, vision for the town, we're working on a comprehensive land use plan right now that was developed 5 years ago, and it hadn't been updated for over 20 years. We're updating it now after 5 years, and some of the things that were brought up tonight, they were given direction to take a look at those things. So, and they were members from the community. And the members of the community that were here, they've lived here for, many of them, all their life. So hopefully they're going to come up with, and I'm sure they will, they're going to come up with a plan, and I know they're close to concluding that. They'll come up with a plan that is good for the residents of Lysander. I'm sure that there are going to be some residents that won't agree with, residents aren't going to agree with everything that everybody comes up with all the time, but I think that hopefully the majority of the residents of the town will think that it's a good product. I've seen part of it, and they've done a lot of work on it, and I really do think it's going to be good for the town moving forward. Town board comments. Start with you tonight, Mr. Diamond.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming, especially for those that attended that spoke during citizens' comments. I think that the thought that was echoed that this town is a really unique place to live because of the features that we have. We're 15, 20 minutes away from Wetlands, but we don't have the traffic that Wetlands and Cicero and Clay have. And that's something that I've talked about since I've been in office. I think it's something that makes this town very special. So I share that thought that we have something that's special here. And when we look at any project, whether it's housing developments or projects like this, that is something we have to keep in mind. So thank you for reminding us about that.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, I would first like to congratulate you, Jim, behind the camera, to finally be retiring from your volunteer job. That's great. Congratulations, and thank you for the years of service for Public Access Channel. Thank you also to everybody, everyone who came out to Brundage Road. That was great, and I appreciate that. But a lot of people were out in our community, not just Brundage Road. There were a lot of people throughout our community doing what they could to beautify it. So thank you to everybody who took the time to go out wherever you were and beautify our community. Also, thank you for coming out. Everyone who comes here, I know sometimes people laugh because I think every time I thank people for coming out. I do like to hear citizens' comments. So thank you for coming out. And thank you for those of you who are watching on PAC. Yeah, I'm good.
Mr. Jurassic?
Sure. I have two comments, and they're related. I think the first one I want to make is I want to thank the folks that came out and expressed their opinion about the unique character and quality of the town of Lysander. And it's always a balance in terms of not specifically this particular project, but in general, balancing development and property rights for private landowners and what they want to do with their property, and preserving something that is growing more and more unique in terms of at least the northern part of Onondaga County when it comes to development. Lysander looks different than Clay and looks different than Cicero, and is there a way to maintain that character and achieve a balance where you're not saying no to development per se, but where you can somehow hopefully have your cake and eat it too in terms of preserving the qualities we have here. And a lot of that, and then I'll go into my second comment, a lot of that falls into, well, what about the tax base in terms of having enough money, funds to run a town, all the things that we have to do, whether it's plowing the roads or buying trucks or fixing roofs. And then, I was you were not alone. I mean, my tax assessment has gone up for 3 years in a row. What about that tax assessment and what happens to our taxes, and is future growth part of fixing the needs, the financial needs of a town? But let me say this about assessments. I won't speak for everybody, the other 4 board members, but I'm going to come pretty close to speaking for them. You've got a board here that does not want to raise taxes at all. In fact, we are looking for ways to, if we don't have to spend that extra penny, we won't spend that extra penny. So what happens with the assessment? For the town of Lysander, that means we won't have to raise taxes as much, or if at all, if the assessment is going to bring in more dollars than we wouldn't have needed. That's what we can do in the town. But what the folks maybe out there don't understand, there are other entities that use that tax rate, that assessed value of a home, and that we have no control over. One of them is Onondaga County. Another one is the school system. Another one is the fire department. They can each create a budget that is absolutely independent, or the town board has no say in any of those things. I can give you my word, and I think on behalf of the board, if we don't need those extra dollars that the assessed value is going to accrue, then the tax rate next year won't be as high. We'll do our best. I mean, that's the bottom line. But what we can't do is promise that the other entities will do the same thing. I hope they do.
And to go off Bob, if I recall, we actually kept the tax rate lower than it was, or we spent less than we did in the previous year. We kept the tax rate the same, lower in the village. So if you lived in the village, you actually got a decrease in your taxes. So we're not raising taxes here in Lysander. Supervisor Wicks did a great job at the beginning of the pandemic, cutting some funds from different departments. Jerry did a great job with his budget, coming in short, seeing what roads could be done later on, getting some roads done earlier based upon the oil prices, so we got a great deal on that. So we're not looking to raise taxes at all. like Bob mentioned before, there's other entities, you know, that we have no control over. You know, the library tax, county tax, school tax, which is the biggest tax out there, right? The town tax is this big, if you look at the overall tax, so. I wish we had more control over all the taxes, but we don't. So, with that being said, yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you. Department head reports. We'll start with Mr. Merrill. Mr. Merrill is our new Parks Director.
Nothing specific other than just getting acquainted with the department and staff and others in the town. We'll start working on a plan for our water park, or the spray park. And,
Okay. Mr. Holt.
Well, you'll be happy to hear that all the roads that we had planned to pave in Radisson are paved, including West Entry, which we finished at 5 o'clock this afternoon. So tomorrow, we'll disturb you up in Indian Springs, weather permitting. And
Now, West Entry's done from the railroad
from
tracks,
60
right?
Road to the railroad
To
tracks.
the railroad tracks. Yeah.
Later this season, there's liable to be some disturbances with National Grid putting in a new duct line from the railroad tracks to Loop Road. So there's gonna be construction on that section of road probably most of the summer.
So we're not gonna have to close it down, right? When we
There'll
talked
be
to
lane
them,
restrictions
Yeah.
at different points in time, so, you know, it's gonna be difficult down there with all the truck traffic and car traffic and school bus. Well, at least the school bus over the summer is not so bad, but, there's gonna be some issues there over the summer with lane closures. It's not us at that point in time, it's National Grid and their flagging operation to protect their personnel. So hopefully they'll get the right contractor on the job and it won't take any longer than it has to, and we can then mill and pave that section of road before the snow flies. So we're chipping away at it. But most of our hot mix paving work, all but one street, Mott Road, that gets the top coat tomorrow, weather permitting. A lot of asphalt hit the ground this past week, so I hope people enjoy their new roads. We inconvenienced them as little as possible, and now they can drive all over the place for the Mother's Day garage sale, Radisson. We're not gonna bother anybody, we're out of there, so that's all I got.
so then Connell Terrace, so,
Connell Terrace, we got that, we're
Should be-
finishing up the plan formulation now.
Should be, not next week, but the week after. Trolley should be up there to get elevations on water and gas services. Hope to break ground on that project beginning of June.
Yeah, and close that one up and down before the end of the year too, so.
okay. Mr. Rosigan? Nothing? Mr. Yeager?
I've got the Ms4 Annual Report. I don't know if Gretchen doesn't have anything, I'll go ahead and get started on that.
Oh, no, I've just been holding down the fort.
Okay.
In Dina's absence.
I'll stand over here, is that good for you? So the New York State DEC requires the town to have a speedy use permit to operate our storm sewers. Every year we have to do an annual report that identifies 6 minimum control measures that the town's required to do as part of that permit. Minimum control measure number 1 is public education and outreach. We partner with the CMY Stormwater Coalition to meet this minimum control measure. Includes construction training, direct mailings, public events, school programs, printed materials. They maintain a regional stormwater website for us. And our measurable goal for that is to continuously update the website, promote it as an educational tool. Minimum control measure number 2 is public involvement and participation. Again, CNY Stormwater Coalition helps us with this minimum control measure. And in addition to that, we are required to do this public meeting and allow people to ask questions. We also post the annual report on the website. If anybody has any comments, please email them to me at engineer@townoflysander.org. In 2020, the CNY Stormwater Coalition conducted a survey about
improvements to the website and stormwater education programs that could be done. Our measurable goal is in 2021, we're going to implement the suggestions that were received as part of that survey. Minimum control measure number 3 is illicit discharge detection and elimination. We partner with Onondaga County Water Environment Protection, who operates a stormwater hotline for residents to call in if they see illicit discharges, and Onondaga County Soil and Water Conservation District, who monitors our outfalls. The Soil and Water Conservation District did not inspect any outfalls in 2020. In 2021, they'll schedule to do inspections of all 28 of our outfalls. Minimum control measure, our measurable goal for minimum control measure number 3 is to update our outfall inventory and mapping to meet the revised outfall definition that the New York State DEC implemented. Minimum control measure number 4 is construction site inspection. Right now we have 36 active construction permits in the town of Lysander, with 17 active sites under construction. In 2020, we issued 2 notices of violation, and our measurable goal is continue monitoring of construction sites and enforcement as needed. Minimum control measure number 5 is post-construction stormwater management. We inspected 27 facilities in 2020. We did not perform any maintenance in 2020 of our existing facilities, and our measurable goal is to continue monitoring of our existing stormwater management facilities and add new facilities to our mapping inventory. Minimum control measure number 6 is stormwater management for municipal operations. We cleaned 126 catch basins and inspected them last year, swept 107 miles of road. Our measurable goal for 2021 is we need to, by the DEC definition, we need to start monitoring the volume or weight of waste that is removed when we do our street sweeping operations. So again, this annual report form will be posted on the town website tomorrow morning when Dina comes back. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me at engineer@townoflysander.org or give me a phone call at 315-857-0291. Thank you.
So people can ask questions of you then, right?
Yeah, if somebody has questions down, feel free, go ahead.
You okay? All right, thank you. Anything else? Ms. Starr, anything? No, it's not. Okay. All right. I didn't miss anybody. We'll move on to the regular agenda items. We added one motion M, and we are going to table motion B. So, we have a motion to declare the gray fabric chair from the Parks and Recreation Department as surplus.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? Didn't like that chair, huh? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Motion C, to accept the audit report of the town court's records for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019 and December 31st, 2020 as presented by the town comptroller.
I'll second it.
Okay, what this is, the court system, or the comptroller, requires that the justice courts be audited each year, and that's what this is. Our comptroller did an audit of them and issued a report. Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize Kevin Merrill, Director of Parks and Recreation, as a signer on the Parks checking account at Southern.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. I have a motion to authorize Kevin Merrill, Director of Parks and Recreation, as a user and signer on a town-issued Visa card with a limit of $2,000.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I have a motion to approve the budget transfer from account number AO 01330-103, Clerk 1, to account AO 01330-102, Deputy Tax Receiver, in the amount of $4,840.
I'll move that. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to appoint the following individuals to the position of Parks Attendant effective April 1st, 2021. Walt Virginia, Bill Brotherton, and George Fields at an hourly rate of $12.50.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, this is, we have to, on our organizational agenda in January, these positions were authorized, but we don't know until we contact the individuals if they're coming back for their summer. So that's why we had to do this now, to identify the specific individuals coming in to take those positions. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to appoint the following individuals to the position of park labor, or position of laborer, parks, effective April 1st, 2021. Mary Lathrop, Jim Lee, and David Sitar at an hourly rate to determine by the union contract.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to appoint Mr. Sean, how do you pronounce his name? Hilliwa, as the 2021 summer engineering intern at a rate of $15 an hour effective May 17, 2021 through August 27, 2021.
I'll move that. I'll second it.
Mr. Yeager, you want to just explain who the engineer is and?
Yeah, Mr. Hilliga is a University of Buffalo student. He is going into his senior year. Seems like a good kid, a great candidate. Is excited to learn. Interested in transportation, which is a good fit for this position. So yeah, we look forward to having him on board.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to accept the dedication of the roads and drainage system included in the Timber Banks Phase 3, Section 4 subdivision. Roads included in the resolution that the town will maintain from this date forward include the following. Tall Tree Lane, length .158 miles, from existing endpoint to the northern intersection of Timber Ridge Lane.
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to set the punch list security requirements for the Timber Banks, Timber Ridge Lane subdivision at $71,000 per the town engineer's letter dated May 4th, 2021.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Mr. Yeager, just explain for the people.
So
in the
this
audience.
is the new road that connects Timber Banks Parkway to Tall Tree Lane, which is the road that accesses Timber Banks behind the YMCA. They have asphalt top course work to do, some work on one of the stormwater ponds, general seeding and turf establishment. They have to set monuments. But this resolution allows the developer to get the bonding that's required.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to set the required maintenance security guarantee for the Timber Banks, Timber Ridge Lane subdivision at $100,000, 25% of the project value per the town engineer's value of improvements estimated included in the letter dated May 4th, 2021.
Slight, there's $100,040.
$100,040, thank you.
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And as I said, there's going to be added motion M. And a motion to declare the 2012 International 10-Wheel Dump Truck with plow surplus and to allow the highway superintendent to auction the 2020 International 10-Wheel Dump Truck with plow.
I'll move it.
2012.
What
You
did I
said
say?
20.
Did I? That was wishful thinking. 2012.
So that, yeah.
2012, thank you. I'll second it. Any discussion? We discussed this earlier in our work session, and Mr. Hull gave a comprehensive explanation why he wants to get rid of this plow truck, because it's actually costing us more money to keep it than it is to buy a new one. You put in excess of $125,000 in repairs since we owned it, and it just keeps breaking down, so that's why we're moving forward with this now, so we can try to recoup as much money from it at auction as we can while it's still in fairly decent shape. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Any new business from the board members? No? There's no need for an executive. There's no need for an executive session. Can I get a motion to adjourn at 7:42?
I'll move that.